All right, so now we've got the outer form done. The next thing we want to do is say finish form, and you'll notice over here in the browser that it's got a new body in here, and it's called body 1, and that's this shape. And down the bottom here, we've got a sculpted form turn up. So there's the original sketch that we had, and then a sculpted form. And if you right click edit, it'll take us back into sculpting mode again. And then if we go back into bodies, we've got our original sculpted body in here as well. So if I right click on this and say copy, and then select bodies, then right click and say paste, it'll add a second body in as well. So they're both identical because one's copied from the other. And then if I turn the first one off, I can actually turn the sketch off as well if we want to, and we'll just say okay to that. What we can do also is, just to keep it out of the way at the moment, is we can decide to make it unselectable, and it's a little red thing here. So what it means is if we grab something, we're only ever going to be grabbing body 2 now and not body 1. We probably want to leave it selectable for the moment, because what I want to do is change the opacity control on it and make it 50%, and then make it unselectable. And so what will happen now is if we grab body 2 and start doing things on here, like select part of it or double click on it and say edit form, and we try scale it down, we should hopefully still see the outer form there and see it as a reference as well. So I'll turn it back on. And then what we want to do is probably move this a little bit so it's in the middle. And we're going to go and make some adjustments now to try and line this up so that it's in the middle of the model. So if I'm happy with that, I'm now going to come along and go select this and say edit form, grab faces in here, edit form, and then move them around. So this is going to start looking a little bit collapsed, but that's okay for the time being. And if it looks a little bit odd, it's because it's smoothing it over the whole shape. And what we really need to do is get all of these different segments roughly into place first before we start worrying about refining the ends. So as I double click on here, I'm moving this back into place. And what I want to do is use the outside as a guide on where the inside has to go. So what I'm trying to do is line up the outside of the inner shape with this sort of intersection that's on the outside. And if I do that here, because we've only got one shape being able to be selected, it means that we can't accidentally select anything, which is really good. Makes it really easy to sort of get things really close to where we want it to be. All right, so once we get there, well, not too bad. We'll probably pull this in a little bit there. Whoops. And you see when I've grabbed the edge incorrectly, it's going to be wrong. So if I double click, go back from there and Control Z, and make sure every time we select an edge like that, we want to select the whole ring by double clicking it. Okay, that one's close enough, close enough. This one is still a little bit far away from where we want it to be. So we'll come back in and grab it and move it back in here. Grab this one, move it in. And that's good. Double click, get to the next one. Get it pretty close. Coming on here. Down there. Get this one closer in. In here and in here. And what the goal is to try and make this inner shape match the outer shape nicely and have a sort of even offset. So realistically, we want to try and make sure that there's generally a 1 centimeter air gap. I'm not really measuring it right at the moment, but we want to make it so that they definitely are separate and that there's a little bit of wiggle room inside the model for us. If we're using the inside volume as a reference and we actually go over that and go outside of it, that we've got a bit of room inside here to not go too far over. Okay, if we scale that down and then move some of these edges around, you can sort of get at a shape that's pretty close to what we had before. If we come back, use that there, grab that, move it around. All right, so we're pretty close. You see, as I'm adjusting them, they're moving around a little bit. So it's a matter of just nudging them back into place bit by bit. And eventually they'll settle down and be all in the right spot. So after a bit of quick adjustment, we now have an inner form that matches pretty nicely and evenly to the outer form, which is pretty good. All right, so once we've got that, then we've now completed modeling the inner form. I think that we're in a pretty good space, so we'll say finish on that, and it'll convert it into two bodies now, so there'll be an inner and an outer one as well. So what I'll do here is we'll rename this and call it outer form, and we'll rename this and call it inner form as well.